U.S. President Donald Trump says Washington has total control over the Strait of Hormuz, a claim Iran has disputed. Meanwhile, Tehran also says there have been no discussions with Washington about extending the ceasefire, since Tehran considers that the truce never formally started. North Korea is reportedly planning to increase its troop deployment to Russia to 50,000 troops by the end of November. The move is seen as an effort to support Russia's push to seize Ukraine's eastern Donbas region before the end of the year. U.S. inflation eased in July, with consumer prices rising 3.4% from a year earlier, marking a slight slowdown from the previous month's annual inflation rate. This raises expectations that the Federal Reserve could keep key interest rates on hold as it assesses the direction of the economy. We begin today in the Middle East. As tensions persist between Washington and Tehran, uncertainty remains over both the future of their ceasefire and the reopening of one of the world's most important energy shipping routes. The two sides are now offering sharply different accounts of who holds the upper hand and whether diplomatic efforts are making any progress. Our Moon starts us off.
U.S. President Donald Trump has repeated its claim that the United States maintains total control over the Strait of Hormuz, even as Iran disputes reports that the two countries have agreed to extend their fragile ceasefire. Taking to Truth Social on Wednesday, he said that Washington would maintain its control of the strategic waterway, following similar claims a day earlier, insisting that Iran cannot dictate conditions.
I don't trust Iran. Why? Are you saying I trust Iran? I'm the last person to trust Iran. They've lied to me constantly. We have total control over the Hormuz Strait right now. They don't have control. We have total control. We own it.
However, shipping data from the Wall Street Journal paints a different picture. Only 14 vessels crossed the strait on Tuesday, compared with more than 130 a day before the war, with 11 of them using a route administered by Iran. Iran's Persian Gulf Strait Authority, the body set up to manage transit through the waterway, pushed back on Trump's claim in a statement on X, saying the strait remains blocked and will not be reopened until Iran's conditions are accepted. His remarks come as conflicting reports on the ceasefire emerge. Turkey's state-run Anadolu agency reported Wednesday that Washington and Tehran, through Pakistani mediation, had notified Islamabad that they would extend the 60-day truce set to expire on August 17th. The ceasefire, part of a war-ending memorandum signed on June 17, followed months of fighting between the two nations. A senior Iranian official, however, told Reuters that there had been no discussions with Washington about extending the ceasefire, since Tehran considers the truce never formally started and therefore sees nothing to extend. Trump also claimed Wednesday that Iran's economy has collapsed under a U.S. naval blockade, citing inflation above 300%. Control of the Strait of Hormuz, through which about a fifth of the world's oil once flowed, has become the central sticking point in efforts to de-escalate the 5-month conflict. 문혜련, Arirang News.
North Korea is reviewing a plan to increase its troop deployment to Russia by the end of November to 50,000 troops. Now, this is according to Japan's Kyodo news agency on Thursday, citing Ukraine's Defense Intelligence Directorate. The plan calls for stationing North Korean troops in 3 western Russian regions bordering Ukraine, freeing existing Russian forces there for redeployment to the front line. The intent is read as an attempt by Russia to seize Ukraine's eastern Donbas region before the end of the year. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has previously said the deployment, once discussed to only be in the thousands, is now set at 30,000 to 50,000 troops. Roughly 9,500 North Korean ground troops are already in Russia, along with a missile unit and about 150 ballistic missile supplies since last August. Colombia has declared 3 days of national mourning after a powerful earthquake killed more than 200 people, as rescue crews continue searching for survivors trapped beneath the rubble. The government says flags will be lowered to half-staff at official buildings and Colombian embassies around the world in honor of the victims. Monday's magnitude 7.4 earthquake was the strongest to strike Colombia in a century. Government figures show at least 2,595 people were injured, while 195 remain officially missing. However, civilian-run databases suggest the true number of people still unaccounted for could be closer to 4,000 as rescue operations continue in the hardest-hit areas. U.S. inflation cooled slightly in July, with consumer prices rising 3.4% from a year earlier as energy and housing costs eased. The latest figures could strengthen expectations that the Federal Reserve will keep key interest rates on hold, while it waits for more signs that inflation is under control. Our Lee Seung-jae tells us more.
U.S. inflation eased slightly in July, adding to expectations that the Federal Reserve may keep interest rates unchanged as it assesses the direction of the economy. The U.S. Labor Department says the Consumer Price Index rose 3.4% in July from a year earlier, down from 3.5% in June, and in line with market expectations. Consumer prices increased just 0.1% from the previous month. Core inflation, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, also cooled. Core CPI rose 2.5% from a year earlier, compared with 2.6% in June, while increasing 0.2% month on month. Lower energy prices helped ease overall inflationary pressure. Energy costs dropped another 1.5% in July after falling sharply in June. Shelter costs, which have been one of the most persistent sources of inflation, rose just 0.1% for the month. The latest figures continue a recent cooling trend, with annual inflation falling from 4.2% in May to 3.5% in June, and now 3.4% in July. That could give the Federal Reserve more room to hold rates steady while watching incoming economic data.
There clearly are some voices who believe that an increase in rates would be appropriate, but given the potential increased weakness in the labor market that we observed in that jobs report, that might make it a little more likely that they hold things steady.
Markets are paying particularly close attention to inflation figures under Fed Chair Kevin Warsh, who took office in May and has emphasized the Fed's commitment to price stability and maximum employment. The Fed last month left its benchmark overnight interest rate in the 3.50% to 3.75% range. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Korea's automobile exports hit a new record high in July. According to the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Resources on Thursday, auto exports reached $6.24 billion last month. That marked the highest figure ever recorded for July, representing a 7% increase from the same period last year. The strong performance was largely driven by eco-friendly vehicles, with exports surging over 25%. Demand for hybrid and electric models remained robust in key markets, including North America and the European Union. Production also grew by 11.3% to 352,000 units, supported by an increase in working days, while domestic sales saw a slight rise of 0.5%. The Korean government is strengthening supply stabilization measures for agricultural, livestock, and fishery products amid the heat wave. The Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries announced on Thursday that it'll offer up to 50% discounts on domestic seafood through Sunday next week, as rising water temperatures are driving up fish deaths and price volatility. The discounts will be applied across major supermarket chains nationwide. The ministry has also allocated roughly $23.5 million in disaster relief funds to help stabilize the livelihoods of affected fishing households. Meanwhile, for agricultural and livestock products, the government plans to expand crop growth monitoring and water supply assistance for livestock farms. The Perseid meteor shower is peaking over Korea on Thursday in one of the most popular celestial displays of the summer. According to the Korea Astronomy and Space Science Institute, the shower will technically peak around noon Thursday in Korea, but observers can still catch large numbers of meteors overnight into Friday. With little to no moonlight, conditions are considered especially favorable for viewers this year. Under ideal skies, up to around 100 meteors per hour could be visible. Astronomers recommend watching from a dark, open area away from city lights. Live broadcasts of the meteor shower will also be available on some national museums' websites. A simple shower may be part of everyday life for most, but for those experiencing homelessness, it can be a luxury. Now, a government program is working to make that more accessible for the homeless. Our Shin So-eun has the story.
In Pampo, amid the blend of old and new buildings that presents the evolving identity of Central Seoul, a city government-led initiative has become an oasis for the homeless. In the scorching summer heat, free mobile shower units provided by the Seoul Metropolitan Government, each carrying around 600 liters of water and serving roughly 20 people a day, have become a welcome source of relief. More than just a shower, the 다시서기 service offers welfare support, including new clothes, toiletries, and food at least 2 times a week.
For them, taking a shower is about more than just personal hygiene. It also helps them feel comfortable being in public spaces and gives them a sense that they can be part of the community alongside others.
According to Seoul officials, 1,577 people used the city's mobile shower services between May and the end of July this year, up more than 30% from the same period last year. At the 5 locations currently operating across Seoul, visitors appear a little shy at first, but there's also a visible sense of anticipation.
These days, going to a public bath or sauna can cost around 15,000 won, and that's not something we can easily afford. So I'm very grateful to the staff who come here and give us a place to shower for free.
Outside the shower booth, face-to-face interaction with social workers also helps visitors.
Even when the free shower service isn't operating, the social workers still come by to check on us, ask if we're having any difficulties or need anything, and provide as much support as they can.
What begins as a simple conversation can give a helping hand towards finding new opportunities in life and even employment. A simple shower can become a first point of connection, helping them identify what support they need. In that sense, mobile shower serves as a starting point towards greater independence. Shin So-eun, Arirang News.
AI is becoming an increasingly important part of our everyday lives, with technology now being built into home appliances to make homes more convenient and safer. Now, these technologies are being integrated into homes from the construction stage rather than being added after the house is built. Our Cha Young has more.
This is a 2-story modular house where more than 80% of the building was pre-manufactured at a factory. Every home appliance is connected to a network operating autonomously. An alarm rings automatically when smoke is detected in the kitchen. And you can check on your pet's well-being at home alone in real time through a robot vacuum's camera. If a suspicious stranger is detected at the entrance, it warns you immediately. The home environment also adjusts automatically to suit different situations, such as inviting friends over or getting ready for bed. An electronics company has showcased an even smarter home by integrating an AI connectivity system in collaboration with a modular housing manufacturer. Instead of filling the house with appliances after completion, they integrated the appliance network, electrical wiring, and energy management system from the initial construction stage. This approach provides a solid solution to security, fire, water leaks, and energy efficiency issues, which have traditionally been weak points for detached houses. Although the domestic modular market is still in its early stages, it is projected to grow rapidly into a new form of housing by merging with smart home technology. Cha Young, Arirang News.
A special exhibition in Gwangju is showcasing how Korea's forefathers expressed their lives through traditional earthenware. The pieces on display reveal how deeply our ancestors valued everyday life. Our Kim Sa-young has the details.
Every piece here tells a story. Its color, its decoration, the way it was used. Each carries a trace of people who made it and the lives they lived. At the Gwangju National Museum, a special exhibition brings together the full story of Korea's traditional pottery. More than 300 pieces are on display, showing the beauty and spirit of Korean culture and the everyday role they once played in it.
Earthenware has always been part of our history. From the vessels of kings to those of ordinary people, pottery has shaped who we are.
This small object, a traditional Korean cowbell, long believed to protect cattle from evil spirits, has now been transformed into a work of art by a sculptor's hands.
I didn't do much, really. If I did anything, it was choosing the right medium. I just had a lot of fun making it.
Elsewhere in the exhibition, other works speak to something larger: peace. Around 30,000 pieces in total capture the daily life of Korea's ancestors, proof of just how central these objects once were to ordinary living.
We chose the cowbell because we're living in a time when peace and our climate feels like it could fall apart at any moment. We hope this cowbell can help protect peace on the Korean peninsula.
Each piece on display carries the wishes and wisdom of previous generations. Within this wisdom lies a legacy that is only now being fully appreciated. Kim Seoyoung, Arirang News.
This is the world now. In Russia, a Ukrainian attack on the Black Sea port of Novorossiysk has shut down 2 major grain terminals and damaged warships. Ukraine's security service says it struck a naval base with drones and missiles, and President Vladimir Zelensky says 2 frigates, a landing ship, and a corvette were hit. Russian officials say at least 2 people were killed in the attacks on Wednesday, including an 8-year-old child. The city's mayor said more than 24 homes were damaged. Wheat futures jumped 3% after the attack, as Russia is the world's biggest wheat exporter. In the United States, President Trump said on Wednesday that White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt is stepping down at the end of the month. At 28, Leavitt is the youngest person ever to hold the job. She says she aims to spend more time with her 2 young children and will stay on as an outside communications advisor to keep shaping Trump's Make America Great Again movement. In Spain, a total solar eclipse swept across the north of the country on Wednesday evening, turning day into darkness. Totality lasted less than a minute just after 8:30 in the evening. A solar eclipse is when the moon passes between the sun and Earth, blocking the light and casting shadow on the Earth. One viewer said the colors came back little by little, first the reds, then the blues. Iceland also saw a total eclipse, and large parts of Europe saw a partial eclipse. The last time there was a total solar eclipse in Spain was in 1912. In Austria, thieves have taken 210 small gold statues of Mozart from his hometown of Salzburg. Officials said on Wednesday only about a third of the 320 figures are left. The German artist who designed the polymer figures believes it was an organized theft rather than souvenir hunters. He planned to sell the statues for about $114 once the exhibition was over. The remaining statues will be on display until August 30th. Chu Ji-han, Arirang News.
After a pleasant start for this time of the year, sunshine will quickly push temperatures higher in many places. And those in Daegu will notice a big rise in temperatures, while the East Coast remains much breezier today. Meanwhile, what's left of Typhoon Chanhom are sending rain clouds over the East Sea. Rain will continue on and off along the East Coast through tomorrow, with up to 50 millimeters expected. And parts of Gyeongsang, Namdo province will also finally get some rain to ease the dry conditions there. And this afternoon, Seoul gets up to 33 degrees, Daejeon at 32, but Daegu and Gwangju will be blistering hot at 34 degrees Celsius with some passing showers in inland regions. Then more sudden showers are expected across many parts of the country tomorrow and on Liberation Day. Then there will be nationwide rain on Sunday night, which will continue into Monday. So please take the weather into account for the long weekend.
That's all we have for today's noon edition of Arirang News. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Stay tuned.